Hey, what's up, CrewTracks team? I've got some internal training for you today, which you can also share with customers if they want to know how our organization switching feature works. So first, let's talk about the goal. The scenario here is you have a company with a bunch of different divisions. It could be different locations like LA, Las Vegas, St. George, Phoenix, or Albuquerque. Or it could be just one location with different divisions like striping, traffic control, and a sign shop. Either way, in some ways these divisions operate completely independently, and in other ways there's some overlap or maybe some reporting needs to be done for the organization as a whole, or a combination of a few of those divisions. Let's work with the example where there's a bunch of different locations in different states. So we'll have California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico. And first, let me emphasize, it doesn't work like this. This is what I thought when I first heard about this feature. I thought we would have a master account, like an entire organization would be the master account, and then all of the sub-accounts would be the different divisions in that organization. It does not work this way. Instead, when we talk about master accounts and linked sub-accounts, we're talking about individual users, individual employees having their own master account and linked sub-accounts. So let's look at the divisions of the company this way. We've got 5 different locations and employees in all 5 locations. Let's talk about 3 of those employees: Barry Big Boss, Sammy Payroll, and Bob Supervisor. Barry and Sammy are in California. It's kind of the headquarters or main office for the company. And Bob is in Nevada, in Las Vegas. So Barry Big Boss, he wants visibility into all the different organizations. He might glance at the live events feed just to get eyeballs on the job site, just to kind of keep a finger on the pulse of what's happening in the various locations of his company. Sammy needs to run reports, right? She needs to see how everyone spent their time and pay them appropriately. So Barry and Sammy will have linked sub-accounts in all of the other divisions of the company. So far, it kind of looks like it's running the way that I thought it did, and I was wrong. California is not the master account. Barry and Sammy have their individual master accounts in the California organization. Now Bob, sometimes he travels to LA or to St. George to visit job sites, and he wants to be able to add those jobs to his schedule in CrewTracks, add some notes and photos, and have that show up in California or Utah or wherever that job is taking place. And the other states don't need to see it. So Bob is going to have his master account in Nevada, but we're going to give him a sub-account in California and Utah. And he doesn't even exist in Arizona or New Mexico. He never travels there. Bob doesn't need to be concerned with Arizona or New Mexico. He's not involved in their operations whatsoever. And this could work in any direction with any of these divisions of the company. Someone could have a master account in New Mexico and a sub-account in Arizona. And the key to linking all these user accounts or employee accounts together is their email address. So now you've got the concept, let's see how this actually works in CrewTracks. Okay, CrewTracks customers, this screen is not going to look familiar to you. This is something you only have access to if you're part of the CrewTracks crew. So our employees in-house here at CrewTracks can log into any organization to give you the support that you need. Well, we're going to give you kind of a mini version of that so that you can hop between different organizations that are part of your bigger company. So we can see these 5 divisions I've talked about. We've got California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico. I'm currently logged into California, so let's go to the employee list. And we'll see we have a Barry Big Boss here. If I click edit, we'll see his email address is barry@test.com. As I mentioned, his email address is the key to linking him to the other organizations. So let's go back to the organization list and let's log into Nevada. Again, any customers viewing this, you can't do this. This is something we can do here at CrewTracks, but I'll show you how we get it set up so that you can switch between the divisions of your own company. Okay, I'm logged into Nevada. Let's go to the employee list for Nevada and let's add a new employee. And I'm going to skip right down to entering his email, barry@test.com, and instantly it recognizes this email is already in use by Barry Big Boss at Acme Construction, California. Do you want to link that account? Yep, I'm going to link it. And it automatically copies over a bunch of stuff and I can just click save. Okay, now I'm just going to repeat that for the other organizations. But before that, let me just pause real quick to point out these organizations are in a group called Demo Group. And that was done by a developer here at CrewTracks. They created that group for these 5 organizations. No one can do that but a CrewTracks developer. So even in-house, our account managers here at CrewTracks, guys, we can't do that. We got to walk down the hall and grab a developer and say, hey, I need these organizations put into a group, and then you'll be able to do what I'm demonstrating here. Okay, so let's continue and create a Barry Big Boss user in the 3 remaining organizations. All right, I'm going to go ahead and log out as me, a CrewTracks super admin, and log in as Barry Big Boss. Put in Barry's email address and password and log in. Now, when I logged in with my email address and password, it took me to my master account, which was in the California division. Each organization also has an org code, so if I log out as Barry And instead of logging in with the email address and password, if I use my username, which is just Barry, and then put in my password, now I can choose which organization I log into directly. So maybe I want to log straight into Acme, Nevada. Log in, and I am logged straight into Acme Construction, Nevada. So you can use the username, password, and org code to log directly into an organization. Or if you just log into the master account every time, right here on the name menu, you can click on My Organizations, and we're giving our customers kind of their own mini version of what we can do in CrewTracks. We can log into any account to provide support or answer questions, but we're giving certain customers with larger organizations or divisions within their company the ability to see their own sort of super admin view just for their divisions. So now Barry, with just one click, can switch between all these organizations. Piece of cake. So let's go to New Mexico. We can look at the jobs. Here's the jobs list for New Mexico. Go back to My Organizations. Let's look at California. Maybe we'll look at the live events here in California. Ooh, not a lot going on. We need more work in California. All right, here we are back at the organizations list for Barry. I don't know if you noticed because I did it pretty quick, but Barry is an administrator in all of these accounts. So he can set up employees in any of these. So I'm just gonna stay logged in as Barry. And let's set up Bob's supervisor. So let's switch to the Nevada account. That's going to be where Bob's master account exists. I'll go to setup and employees, and let's add Bob's supervisor. First, let me just make sure his email isn't in use. Okay, we're good to go. So we'll go Bob supervisor, and his title is supervisor, but I'm actually going to make him an employee type of administrator. He's a big deal in Nevada. He is Barry's hero over there. He keeps everything running smoothly in Nevada. He just travels to supervise job sites in California and Utah. So in Nevada, he's going to be an admin. Let's make his username Bob S. We'll give him a password, confirm the password, and let's go ahead and save that. Okay. We've just added an employee to Acme Construction, Nevada. Nothing special there, just another user account like we've always had. But now, as Barry, I can go to My Organizations. Let's switch to California, and I'm going to go to Employees, and let's add Bob Supervisor here as well. I'll skip straight to his email, bob@test.com. It's already used by Bob Supervisor in Nevada. Do you want to link? Yes, let's link. But here, he's just going to be a supervisor. So it copied over his name, his title, his username, his password will be the same. But for the California office, he's not an admin. He's a supervisor. And I'm going to do the same thing for the Utah office. So let's go back to organizations, switch to Utah, go to employees, add a new employee, skip straight to the email, bob@test.com, and CrewTracks detects, hey, there's someone in this organization group that already has that email address. Do you want to link that account? Yes, link it. And here again, he's going to be a supervisor. We'll save that. Okay, so now Bob is an administrator in Nevada. He's a supervisor in California and Utah. So he'll be able to use the mobile app, add jobs to his schedule, take notes and photos, do the Bob supervisor thing in California and Utah. But in Nevada, where he pretty much runs the show, he's an administrator and he can access everything in that account. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so again with Bob, I can use his username, password, and organization code to log directly into an organization. Or if I just use his email address, along with his password, it'll log me straight into his master account here in Acme Construction, Nevada. But again, Bob Supervisor has linked sub-accounts, so I can click here, go to My Organizations, and I can switch to one of these other accounts, but pay attention to the menu options over here. In Nevada, Bob is an administrator, but in these other organizations, he's a supervisor. So if I switch to California, I only have the menu options that are available to a supervisor, and the same goes for Utah. But again, if I switch to Nevada, I have all of the features available to an administrator. Okay, sad news for Barry. Bob is such a rock star. He went and started his own company, and we need to deactivate him in these organizations. So let me log back in as Barry. Okay, I'm logged in as Barry. Go to my organization list. Let's switch to Nevada, which is Bob's primary location, his master account, and let's go to employees. We'll find Bob's supervisor. There he is. Let's edit him. And we have a few options here. You'll notice the inactivate checkbox is no longer a checkbox. It's a button because it's not as simple as just activate or deactivate for Acme Construction Nevada. Bob also exists in 2 other divisions of this company. So if I click inactivate, it's going to say, to inactivate an account with sub-accounts, you must either pick a new master account in another organization or choose to inactivate all sub-accounts. So if I just want to inactivate Bob everywhere, I would select inactivate all and hit OK. Or if I just want to remove him from this one division, I could choose a different account to be his master account, either California or Utah. Now before I inactivate him, let me show you another option we have here. we have the ability to manage linked sub-accounts right here. So let's say if Bob was staying and we just wanted to relieve him of his responsibilities that were making him travel to California, Utah, we can inactivate him in those two divisions and he would still be good to go as an administrator in Nevada. We also have the option to unlink him from these organizations, which doesn't inactivate him in those organizations, but it removes the ability for him to switch between those organizations from the name menu up here, the My Organizations option. And it also will clear his email address from that sub account, because remember, it's the email address that's the key to linking these accounts. So we can't have the same email address in use in two different organizations unless they're linked. So when we break that link, we're just going to clear the email address from the other account. Or if we were unlinking an account where he was an administrator, you would get a pop-up right here that would ask you for another email address for that other administrator account, which would not be linked anymore. It would have two separate email addresses. And the last thing I'll mention here, that which might sound obvious, but I'll show you what I mean, is if you unlink a sub account, it doesn't inactivate that account. That account still exists, they can still log in with it. Likewise, if you inactivate an account, it doesn't unlink. And that might be a little less clear. So let me show you what that looks like. Let's go ahead and inactivate Bob in the California organization. Are you sure you want to inactivate this account? The master account will no longer be able to switch to Acme Construction California. Okay, let's switch organizations. We'll go over to California. Let's look at our employees. We'll go to the inactive employees, and sure enough, there is Bob Supervisor. He is inactivated. Bob won't be able to see California as an organization he can switch to, but because this account still exists, technically it's just deactivated, I can go edit this, make it active again, and you can see this account is managed by Acme Construction Nevada. The master account for Bob Supervisor is still there in Nevada. I could unlink it here, or just by activating and clicking save, now Bob will be able to switch to the California organization again, just like he did before. So there you go, that's our new organization switching feature. CrewTracks has always been a really scalable product, but this makes our upper end of scalability way bigger. We can handle really big companies now with dozens or hundreds of offices, which I think is key to our mission to create the world's best field management software. I personally have a big place in my heart for small businesses. I love the companies we've served with 5 employees, 10 employees. We already have worked really well for companies with, hundreds of employees or even 1,000 or 2, but this feature is going to let us serve anybody, anyone who wants CrewTracks. It's pretty awesome. That's it for now. See ya.